I'm Alan Ross. I'm the managing editor of APC Technologies, and we are here at the NETA, the International Electrical Testing Association, their 2023 Power Tech Conference, doing interviews. My guest with me is the Director of Communications for APC Media, Rachel Linke. Rachel, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, Alan. Would miss it.
We're just going to have an interesting time with all of these people, and tell me what you like best about these interviews.
The best part about these interviews, I feel like, is that it really brings about a lot of great thought leadership, and I really just love how you make everybody feel so comfortable, Alan. You really try to get people to just be comfortable and in their own skin, and then so much great information comes out of it. So
let's see if we made people in the next interview comfortable. Enjoy. My next guest is Derrik Haas. Is that how you pronounce it?
That's it. You got it.
Okay, that's great. Derrik, thank you for joining us. You are a director of training, and you're with Schweitzer Engineering, correct?
Yes, I primarily work with training and supporting customers.
Okay. I love Schweitzer, so we're going to get to that in a little bit, but thank you.
Thanks
for joining me. So tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into this? What was your schooling? Why did you come into the power industry when nobody else was?
So my dad was in...
By the way, switchgear's going off
do.
there. We can't stop it. Yeah.
So my dad was in the power industry. He worked for a utility. I started working for a utility as well, the utility company in Houston where I live, and started off as a customer for SEL, for Schweitzer.
Yeah.
And I love...
What were you doing for the utility?
Oh, engineer. I'm electrical engineer for their distribution department.
Okay.
Great place to start a career.
Right.
It was like family for me. In case of my dad working there, literally, knew a lot of the people. Very, very easy and natural place to start. Really love the power in the utility sector.
One of the things that happens in this industry is there's a congeniality. We're good people. We really, I don't care where you go in the country, what you do, there's a sense that we're doing something important and a sense that we're just good at what we do, and we're not really cutthroat competitive capitalists. What we're trying to do is build the country, and that's true globally. I see that everywhere.
I think it comes from the concept of service.
Yeah.
I mean, the utility industry, is providing a critical service. I mean, look, one of the key differences between a country that's successful and developed and one that's struggling is the availability of safe, economical, and affordable electric power, and that's what our industry provides. I remember growing up, when a storm would hit, my dad was out getting people's lights back on, and that carried over to me when I worked at the utility. I helped go on storm duty after a couple of hurricanes. I'm from Texas and Houston, and that was the thing, I guess, that drew me to SEL was the concept of service and the training they provided. They were always very generous with providing affordable training, and when I would call, it felt like like the person wanted to help me out. The same way, the linemen or the testing technicians or all the people that keep our lights on, have that.
How did you gravitate to the role you're in now? I mean, you're a practitioner, which I love. People who are in charge of training are better at it when they're practitioners because they understand it from the practitioner level. So how did you gravitate towards this?
Well, the experience at Centerpoint was incredible. I looked up to the service and the training that SEL provided, and just always loved that idea of helping people. Okay. We have one of my counterparts who's been with SEL for decades used to say that when you pick up the phone, the person the testing technician at the substation, us helping them maybe on a Friday, maybe what gets them back home. And that quote always stuck with me. And, that's the service part. The training part is hopefully that they don't have to make the call, that they can get the job done before Friday PM with proper planning and knowledge and tools.
So is your job internal with SEL, and you have training You train customers?
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
That's correct. We work. I work for SCL, and we provide the regular technical support and also training on our products and how to use them, how to apply them, how to test them.
Yeah. And so the problem that your customers have, the same problem you've got, is getting new people into the market. Are you seeing a difference between, because you've been in long enough, you don't look old enough to do it, but you've been in long enough to have seen, maybe not the boomer generation, but that next, they're now 50, 60-year-old generation. They have a certain work ethic. It's changing, and I'm not saying it's worse, it's just different. How do you see that challenge between generations?
One, thank you for the compliment. I feel it's good to know I don't look as old as maybe I am. And two, yeah, there is a difference. But I think some things don't rust. You know, that concept of service doesn't rust. The younger folks that are coming in, they may value certain things more, like we hear all the time about flexibility. They like you know the ability to have flexible work schedules or things of that nature. That may be a little bit new and different, but other things don't. And you know, that having a mission and a purpose about the work that you do, I think young people do gravitate towards that. They understand when the lights go off how bad of a thing that is. They understand, you know, how important it is to you know, do a job well and get things done right. You know, the other thing too that I think I really appreciate this year, coming to NITA in person. You know, we got on this sort of virtual kick. And coming to these events, it's about building relationships and seeing people, right? And that is a necessary part. And I've heard that from a lot of the older generation that are excited to get back.
Why did you look at me when you said older generation?
Oh my God.
I love that one, but go ahead.
Gentle revenge, maybe, or but yeah, and I think the younger people, you know, I met somebody just around the hotel. He recognized me from Schweitzer and works at one of the major vendors supporting this event. And it was his first time at NITA, and he said that was one of the things he was looking forward to the most, was actually meeting people that he'd seen on camera or he'd heard about, maybe talked to on the phone, but he hadn't had the opportunity to network with.
Yeah.
So I think some things don't rust.
Right. I love that statement. Some things don't rust.
I'm stealing it. I heard our founder say it, but I'm sure it's I'd have to Google to see where it was from.
Yeah, do that. NITA, so we were just talking about it. NITA's doing the apprenticeship program coming up. If you're aware of that, and have you been involved in it at all?
Not directly. My role was more engineering,
Okay.
but I worked with all the technicians in my previous life, and with SCL, most of them come with NITA certification. Okay. So we understand the process. Yeah. Help him. Very rigorous. And fantastic to go through and build that knowledge.
It should be a good entry point for a lot of people to get more younger people, and I love the fact that it brings that. I mean, I think apprenticeship programs are what we lost 50 years ago, right? And we told everybody to get a college degree, and it's a good career, it's a good life, and you don't need a sociology degree to do it. What you really do need is you got to have a lot of training and a lot of development. I want to two last things. Safety, we all know, is critical. Everybody says safety is job one, right? But how do you develop training for safety that you know is not just checklist safety? I mean, are you involved in that at all?
Yes. Okay. Yes. We have people that go out in the field as part of support. A lot of the support we can handle remotely, but from time to time, if there's a broken relay, one of the SCL relays, there aren't very often, thankfully, but we may need to go out into the field and gather more data than what we could get on the phone or from just a return product slip, or an RMA as we call it. So when we send people out in the field, it's a dangerous environment. I think, having processes, robust processes, is important. That's the checklist part, so to speak. The paperwork, the training, making sure people are stopping and doing the things that they need to do, paying attention. But I think probably the biggest thing is connecting those checklists, those processes, those training modules with the why. Making sure that that the people understanding the training connect all those processes to the job that they're doing and how it keeps them safe. Because it's really easy to get caught up in that, right? I mean, tailboard forms is a good example, right? Before you go out on a job, usually you fill out a tailboard form describing the work, and it's really easy to get complacent on any part of a process, a tailboard form included, reminding people the why, and constantly reinforcing the why.
So I'm on an elevator, 22nd floor. You and I are going down. You got 2 minutes. Why should I do business with SEL?
Oh my gosh, 2 minutes. Okay, I'm on the clock. I would say our values and our culture. We do business. Our founder Ed Schweitzer tells us we do business the way our mothers would want us to do it.
I like that. And we do business the way our mothers would want. Oh, that's a saying a whole mouthful. I like that.
It's a good thing. And then as a manufacturing company, we're a U.S. manufacturer, and that's been a challenging thing the last few years. But we believe in U.S. manufacturing. We're growing our footprint. We just opened a printed circuit board factory.
Okay.
So that we can have circuit board components closer to home here in the United States to help address some of the supply chain.
That probably wasn't easy because that's got supply chain issues and it's got technical issues on it in and of itself. That was a good move. It's a brilliant move. We made it actually before the decision, before some of the supply chain stuff hit. Of course, once the supply chain issues started coming in, hindsight's always 20/20, but that looked like a brilliant move, building that factory then. So I think the U.S. manufacturing, the company culture, and then for me, I have to plug myself in the job role that I'm in. Our customer service and our training is world class. We believe, our founder Ed Schweitzer believes teaching is selling, and if you teach the value of a product and the benefits of a product, it should sell itself, and that's what we do. Okay, one last question. I said that was the last one, but I got one. You mentioned this, but I really want you to kind of focus in on it a little bit more. One of the things about NITA is the collegiality and the collaboration. Competition goes aside, and somebody might be mad at somebody because they poached somebody from it, but competition goes aside, and there really is this sense that we're doing something for the future, the betterment. Describe what that means to you.
Well, it's huge. I think industry organizations like NITA, and NITA in particular for the testing technicians and commissioning engineers and technicians is fantastic. I think having that common framework to share ideas in an appropriate setting, in an appropriate body for the benefit of industry is huge. Because a lot of times you're right, if you are just talking to a competitor, you may hold back. You may not share a lesson learned because maybe you feel it might give you a competitive advantage. But when you have a forum like NITA, in the engineering community, there's similar industry groups, right? But NITA in particular, I've noticed the technicians are a lot more friendly to each other than maybe the engineers. And I think it's good because that sharing of knowledge ultimately is what helps progress us along. And there's a lot of changes, a lot of knowledge to be shared, and a lot of lessons learned that we're going to need to get to where we need to be.
That's good. Derrik, thank you so much. Brilliant.
Thank you.